everyone, this is George with Simpler Times Homestead, and today I'm going to be showing you how we make homemade dill pickles using a water bath canner. We're going to be canning today in pint-sized jars using cucumbers that we get out of our garden and a pre-made mix that we purchased from a local supermarket. We're going to be slicing the cucumbers on this mandolin, which ensures that each pickle slice is the same size, and it really helps the process go a lot faster. Here we have our water bath canner heating up. Pickles and tomatoes are pretty much the only things that you can can in a water bath canner. Everything else, because of the low acid content, requires pressure canner. But as this is heating up now, we're going to go check the selection of our cucumbers. So here we are where our cucumber plants are growing. Looking for some cucumbers. I see that's one here. We let grow a little too big. Your ideal cucumber for canning is going to be around 4 inches long. Anything larger than that, they get a little bit of a bitter taste, and they're really not the perfect kind and quality that you would select for canning or making pickles. Over on this side, we have a little one growing here. Got another little one growing down here. Some more little ones growing. This is one we can pick. So I'm going to pick this with one hand, which is a little tricky. We're going to take that in with some others that we picked, and we're going to wash them and use it for our pickles. So while we have the water heating up outside, we have a pickle mixture on the stove. It's a combination of the pickle mixture, vinegar, and water. I believe it was 3 1/3 cups vinegar, 4 1/3 cups water to 1 pack of the pickle mixture, but whatever the pack says, that's how you would mix it. So while we're waiting for the jars to finish sterilizing, and they are in the dishwasher right now on sanitized setting, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start chopping our cucumbers. We have some really nice ones here we got out of the garden that we're going to be packing the jars with. And we're just going to cut right down here. Have the good fortune of using this mandolin, which ensures that all the pickle slices, all the cucumber slices that will be pickles, are all the same size. Already starting to make a lot there. You want to be careful, of course, while you're doing this. Make sure your finger doesn't get in the way. Looks like I could have used a bigger plate too. Now we're just going to keep cutting. Remember, the size of the pickle that you're going after for pickling cucumbers is about 4 inches, nothing too big. We've made these in the past and I've cut them by hand with a knife, but the mandolin makes things go by so much faster and easier. some of our earlier ones. And keep going. There too. Now I'm not putting the ends in, I'm saving all the ends here. I know store-bought pickles have the ends usually, but it's been my experience that sometimes the ends can be a little bitter, although these aren't that really tasting us out. Maybe I will put the ends in. So here we have our sterilized jars fresh out of the dishwasher. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these canning funnels and we're going to pack these with the cucumbers. After we get done with that, we're going to add the pickling mix. And then we're going to put them in our water bath canner outside. So, I'm going to keep going. You may have to move them around in there to get extra room so you can fit more inside the jar. You want to be careful so it doesn't come up into where the threads are, because we're going to fill this with liquid and we have to have a ½ inch of headspace on these. So after we have the cucumbers packed in our jars, it's time to go ahead and take our pickle juice mixture and we're going to spoon that into the jar, leaving a ½ inch headspace on each one. Be careful not to overflow it. They get really messy if you overfill them. So right now I'm going to fill it just to the bottom of the threads with it. I'm going to take this funnel out and use it in another jar. And then you'll see after we fill these up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wipe the rims just to make sure we don't have any pickle juice or any other liquid on there. And that'll make sure we get a tight seal or a proper seal during the process. So the next step after we fill the jars with the pickle juice is you want to take the end of the, this is a headspace measuring tool, and it measures how much air or headspace is left at the top. And you want to go in all around the sides of the jar, making sure that there's no air pockets, just getting out any air pockets that you might have in there. Now we're going to remove our canning funnels. being careful not to get any liquid on the top. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to wipe the tops just to make sure that there's no pickle juice mixture spilled on those, because that'll prevent it from getting a proper seal. And that's definitely something we don't want to happen. We want it to have a really good seal that'll last. Almost ready. After this, we're going to get the lids out. I'm going to put the lids on, put the bands on, and we're going to process them in the water bath canner outside. So here we have our pint jars that we just put in the canner. You didn't see it, but the rack lifts out and it sits on the side, so we just put them in there, and then the rack lowers slowly into the canner for them to be covered with water. Go ahead, sweetie. My wife's out here helping today. And we're just going to put the lid on, and we're going to time 5 minutes for this. That's all it takes, is 5 minutes. I should mention that this is only going to take 5 minutes because we're processing pints. If we were to process quarts, you'd want to process them in a rolling boil for 10 minutes. So we're going to let this go ahead and work, and then we're going to come back in 5 minutes and see what the results are. It's been just over 5 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn off the heat. And we're going to take the lid carefully off the canner. Just so it begins to cool a little bit. We're going to wait about 5 minutes. We're going to come back and we're going to take the rack out. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes since we took the lid off and turned off the propane. So we're going to carefully lift this rack out. Just let it sit there for a couple minutes. So what we did next was we brought the rack in the house and we put it on a cooling rack on our table, and it's going to sit here overnight while the jars finish setting. And as they cool, we want to make sure that they have an inch, minimum of an inch space in between them so that they cool properly. And the lids will actually ping. The suction from inside will draw it down, and that's indication that there's a proper seal on the jars at that time. So we're going to leave this alone overnight, and we're going to check it tomorrow. So this is day 2. Yesterday we went ahead and picked, prepared, and canned the pickles, and today is the day that the product is finally ready to be eaten. It has to sit for about 24 hours to be fully processed. And we came outside today to show you the finished product, because yesterday as I was going over some of the initial video, I noticed that some of it was dark and grainy, a little bit hard to see, but I wanted you to be able to see in the natural light how beautiful the product is. These are our dill pickles. We got 8 pints out of the probably 7 or 8 pickles we picked yesterday, or cucumbers we picked yesterday. So that's roughly one little bit over 1 cucumber per jar. I guess it was over 8 that we picked. But you can see beautiful product. So what we're going to do now is we're going to label this with the date and what it is. So it'll say June 2014. Dill pickles. Then we'll take the rings off. Some people choose to leave the rings on, and we're going to put them on the shelf in our pantry, and we're going to enjoy them as we want to. So that was it for our pickle making video. I hope it inspires you to go out and pick some cucumbers, enjoy the fruit of your garden, enjoy the things that God's giving you, and that's it. This has been George with Simpler Times Homestead, reminding you that it's the simpler things in life that matter.